Hey watercolor wizards, Hajra here. Today I'll be swatching and demoing the full range of Cinelli A colors on a dot card. So let the epic color adventures begin. As usual, art blogs, art notes, Q&As, sketches, deconstructed paintings, and art gift rewards are available for my patrons on Patreon. Okay, so the first question you might have is where did I get a Cinelli A dot card? I've mentioned before that Cinelli A doesn't make a dot card. Well, this adorable dot card was handmade with all the Cinelli A colors and sent to me in the post by Otto Kano, so thanks to Otto for being so generous and making this Cinelli A color swatching possible. So I'm going to get right to swatching the Cinelli A colors as I talk about them. And this video has only been sped up to twice the speed, so you're seeing almost real-time swatching here, so you can really enjoy and take note of the yummy colors. Otto was super smart and actually put these in the same order as the Cinelli A colors on the Cinelli A color sheet, so you can easily compare what I'm swatching to the color sheet, which you can download for free online. The only color she didn't have was Opera Rose, but everything else is here, and you can just check out my Opera Rose swatches on my Schminke or Daniel Smith dot card videos if you want to see Opera Rose. It'll be the same fluorescent pink color for all of them. Also, I put my high resolution dot card scans as well as posts on color schemes and pigment properties and more on my Patreon if you want to check that out for more info. So what do I think about these Cinelli A colors? So I own about 20 Cinelli A colors in watercolor pans already. I've circled the names on the dot card in pencil in the final dot card shots, and I found all of the ones that I already own to be soft, creamy, densely pigmented colors. And testing the full range on the dot card here didn't reveal any super disappointing differences in the rest of the colors, which is really good because there's 98 total. The green earth color was the only one that was slightly harder to re-wet with some diluted color release, but not by much, and all of the other 97 colors I swatched here were super soft and creamy and pigmented. For Daniel Smith and Winsor & Newton, I've mentioned this before that many colors are really frustratingly hard to re-wet, and the pigment release is diluted, and that just makes it a wasted investment in my opinion. But luckily that didn't happen for the Cinelli A colors. And Cinelli A colors, just like Schminke and Daniel Smith and Winsor & Newton, are fine artist quality. In fact, the honey in the Cinelli A formula makes them sticky when they're dry, unlike the Schminke colors. And that is unique to the Cinelli A, where they are using honey in the formula. This makes it tough to make them into a folding dot card because, you know, they'll sort of stick and smush onto each other, but I haven't had any problems with stickiness or poor drawing because of the honey for my Cinelli A colors that I have in pans or when I've let them dry on a palette. And again, because I've used these colors before, just didn't have the full range of them, I also have never had them result in a sticky or poorly layered painting. Cinelli is actually the brand of choice of botanical painter Billy Scholl, and she does a lot of layered glazes in her floral paintings and never seems to have any trouble with them either. Personally, they're my second favorite brand after Schminke watercolor pans. And I've created some of my prettiest paintings with the Cinelli A colors I already have in pans, including my botanical peacock piece and my horizontal Christmas ornaments piece, and also my stained glass looking lighthouse painting. And the colors were consistently soft and dense and vibrant and just a pleasure to paint with. And they go a long way and look very vibrant, which is what you'd want from an artist grade color. I did notice while painting with the Cinelli A colors, and also again while swatching with the rest of them on this card, that they have a denser formula and handling than Schminke watercolors, and that seems to be a brand difference between the two. And I feel like with the Cinelli A, the opaque and even semi-opaque colors can be used really easily like gouache if you were to just use them thicker and then use them with white and not water for tinting. This is only if you're like me and only get pans and refuse to get tubes. I can't open and use tubes very well, but if you are okay with getting tubes, then Cinelli A and also Schminke offer a formal line of gouache colors in tubes for opaque watercolor painting. But yeah, there is a lovely, creamy, dense formula to these colors. And I truly do feel that they're the second best after Schminke, after other brands that I've tried. But let me also now put some candid criticism out there about these colors. And I just have some minor quibbles with Cinelli A that drop them down below Schminke in quality a bit. But Cinelli A still has far better paint formulation than Daniel Smith or Winsor & Newton in my opinion, especially in the pan or dried forms on a palette. So of these minor quibbles, first there's a labels issue. Cinelli A provides the labels transparent, semi-opaque, and opaque, along with light fastness ratings on their color pamphlet, but they are missing staining, semi-staining, non-staining, granulation, and also semi-transparent labels, at least on the most recent color pamphlet that I've downloaded. This is not a big deal if you just want to use the paint via hue or color identity, but not if you also care about any of the other pigment properties much. Like, you wouldn't want a granulating color for a smooth skin painting, but there are no labels here to help you with that. Same thing for if you wanted to identify staining or non-staining pigments. So if you look at these colors, 29 are labeled opaque, 22 are labeled semi-opaque, and 47 are labeled as transparent. And I think of the 47 colors that are labeled transparent, not all of them are fully transparent. Some of them seem to be semi-transparent, and I think they would benefit from having a semi-transparent label. For example, I already own a phthalo green light in a pan form, and it has not behaved like a fully transparent color, though that is how it's labeled. It's definitely more a semi-transparent color with some opacity to it. And I agree that it's not a middling opacity or a semi-opaque color, but that's what the semi-transparent label, which is missing here from Cinelli A, is for. And the 98 color range is a really nice color selection of warm and cool primaries and warm and cool earth tones and some neutrals. But just as Daniel Smith has too many colors in its range, with some being really not that pretty or vibrant and some that are just repetitive, Cinelli A, I think, has just a bit too few. I think Schmincke gets the color range just right in that Goldilocks sense, with a 140 color selection that provides more vivid and more varied colors in every hue, and also in the earth colors and the neutrals. For example, I didn't like the warm gray, Sennelier gray, or light gray in the Sennelier range. It's not a big deal. These are just 3 neutrals that can be avoided, but they just look like gouache tints. In fact, they're all labeled as opaque colors, and they don't seem at all like useful transparent neutrals that should be in a watercolor range. I don't even see that they're useful to be produced and sold here, because you can either mix them from a black or neutral color and white, or just not use them at all. You wouldn't even want to use them for a fully transparent watercolor painting, because an opaque gray is just going to make your watercolor piece look kind of ugly. And yes, Sennelier has a more transparent Payne's gray and neutral tint, but Schmincke has those 2 grays and also other grays for you to choose from if you want some variation in temperature. The same goes for the earth colors and the primary color selection. Schmincke just has more varied selection. Again, it's not a huge deal, just a minor quibble. You can mix all the colors you need with the Sennelier range, but the Schmincke one is just more yummy with some treat colors that will give you a more brilliant and diverse color mixing range. And like I mentioned before, Schmincke provides more pigment property labels for its greater color range, so you can then use your colors in a more informed manner. But overall, the swatching of these 97 colors on this dot card affirmed what I already felt about Cinelli from the 20 colors I already own in pans. It's a really lovely artist grade brand of watercolor, and better in quality than all the others I've tried except for Schmincke. And some of you might even like the Cinelli better if you find that softer honey formula more appealing. But that's why it puts these brands sort of neck to neck. It all depends on personal preferences about color range and formula. Schmincke and Cinelli are both 2 very good artist brands. I do think that Cinelli is definitely better than Winsor & Newton or Daniel Smith watercolors, as well as better than Gansai Tambi and all the cheaper watercolors as well. And because it costs less than Schmincke, Cinelli is a great find for anyone who wants to paint with soft, dense colors but can't spring for a Schmincke set. The Aqua Mini from Cinelli is a good place to start. That's what I started with. It was just a cute little tin of 8 colors at only $20. Well, wizards, I hope this dot card swatching and review was useful to you in understanding and comparing Cinelli watercolors to others that I have experience with. Please like, subscribe, and check out my website links and Patreon page to support my art and art channel below. Thanks for parking your brushes here, and wishing you magical color adventures.